The rapid resurgence of the Taliban in Afghanistan from May to August 2021 has raised significant questions about the geopolitical landscape and implications for international relations. This analysis, this background, will explore the key dates and events that facilitate the swift takeover, emphasizing the critical moments leading up the Taliban returns to the power after nearly 2 decades. For that reason, we're going to discuss key dates leading to the Taliban's takeover. May 1, 2021, U.S. troop withdrawal begins. The withdrawal of U.S. troops commenced a move stemming from a deal made by the Trump administration in February 2020, which stipulated that all foreign forces will exit by the end of April 2021. By this time, the Taliban controlled approximately 76 districts, or 19% of Afghanistan. A lot. June 23, 2021, Taliban gains momentum. By late June, the Taliban had escalated their control to 139 districts, about 1/3 of the country. Their rapid advance took both international observers and even Taliban fighters by surprise, raising doubts of the viability of the US-backed Afghan government. July 8, 2021, Biden defends withdrawal. President Joe Biden publicly defended the decision to withdraw troops amid concerns about potential civil war. He announced that U.S. military operation will conclude by August 31, earlier than anticipated. August 6, 2021, first provincial capital falls. The Taliban captured Saran, marking their first provincial capital takeover. This event signaled a turning point of their offensive as they began to gain control over major urban areas. August 13 to 15, 2021, major cities fall within days. The Taliban seized key cities including Kandahar and Herat on August 13, followed by Mazar-e-Sharif and ultimately Kabul on August 15. President Ashraf Ghani fled the country as a thousand troops at Kabul airport, with thousands attempting to escape. Well, the swift takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban within just 5 days highlights not only the effectiveness of their military strategy, but also raises critical questions about U.S. foreign policy and its long-term implications for regional stability. As we analyze these events further, it's essential to consider both immediate and broader geopolitical consequences stemming from this rapid shift in power.
Now for the critical juncture in social media analysis, we decided to use Rank 24 to monitor real-time mentions of Afghan migration across various social media platforms. This tool allows us to identify influential voices and organizations participating in discussions about Afghan migration. Additionally, by analyzing public sentiment regarding the Afghan migration crisis, we can gain a clear understanding of the overall tone of the conversation, whether it reflects support, criticism, or neutrality toward refugee policies, humanitarian efforts, and government actions. In the context of the debate, we have some keywords. We are going to start with Taliban. The keyword Taliban is crucial because their return to power triggered a new wave of mass migration. When they took control of Afghanistan, many Afghans fled the country to escape the oppressive regime, particularly due to their strict rules and the harsh treatment of women. Recently, the Taliban imposed yet another oppressive rule, banning women from raising their voices in public, adding to the ongoing restrictions and severe repressions of women's rights. This climate of fear and repression has been a major driver of the ongoing migration out of Afghanistan. Our second keyword is deport. Countries hosting Afghan refugees such as Pakistan, Germany, and Iran have intensified their efforts to deport undocumented Afghan migrants, attributing this to both security concerns and domestic pressures. In the third place, we have Pakistan. But what is happening with migrants? Well, in October 2023, Pakistan's announcement to expel all unregistered migrants sparked fears among the nearly 2 million undocumented Afghans in the country about being deported to dangerous conditions. About 541,000 were forced to leave in the first phase in November last year. The deportations coincided with a turbulent political and economic landscape as the country prepares for national elections scheduled for February of this year. But that is not the first time Pakistan has set its security concerns in a migration crackdown. In 2016, it deported some 600,000 Afghan migrants. Human Rights Watch called the exodus the world's largest unlawful mass forced return of refugees in recent times. Here we have one opinion of Amnesty International. The next keyword is Iran. Every day, hundreds of Afghans, some holding their children, are deported from neighboring Iran. Many of them cross into Iran illegally to escape the brutal rule of the Taliban and the devastating humanitarian and economic crisis gripping Afghanistan. The rate of deportation has increased as anti-Afghan feelings rise in Iran, which saw a large influx of Afghan refugees and migrants after the Taliban took power by force in 2021. Many Iranian citizens believe undocumented Afghan workers have flooded the labor market and are a burden on the welfare system. Now we have Germany. In August of this year, Germany deported its first Afghan nationals since the Taliban took over in Afghanistan in 2021. These individuals were all convicted offenders who had no legal right to remain in Germany and were subject to deportation orders. These actions demonstrate that Germany's focus on security precedes the desire to protect criminals and dangerous individuals. Now, to finish this section, let's take a look at the following words: Trump, Biden, and withdrawal, because over 79,000 Afghan refugees entered to the United States from July 21 through January of 2022. And lately, congressional Republicans criticized the Biden-Harris administration after the Justice Department charged an Afghan national who was allowed into the country following the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan for conspiring to conduct a terrorist attack on Election Day in the United States on behalf of ISIS. Nasir Ahmad Tawedi, an Afghan national living in Oklahoma City, conspired and attempted to provide material support to ISIS and obtain firearms and ammunition to conduct a violent attack on U.S. soil in the name of ISIS. And here we can see some posts of members of the Republican Party in Twitter and an opinion of the FBI Director Christopher Wray, who claimed that terrorism is still the FBI's number one priority and they will use every resource to protect the American people.
Since the Taliban took over Afghanistan, millions have fled, seeking safety in Europe. However, the situation remains tense. Media like The Guardian highlight the backlash against Germany's deportation plans, while BBC and Al Jazeera cover the dilemma of refugees caught between border policies. By investigating through Brand 24 in Atlas, we identified key information, underscoring the most pressing issues surrounding Afghan refugees and Europe's response. The future is uncertain. How will Europe respond?
This repression had led to a mass displacement both inside and outside Afghan borders, deeply affecting its neighborhoods, Iran and Pakistan.
The international community's response has been limited. Some Europe governments prioritize strengthening borders to avoid a new wave of refugees, while others, like Turkey, receive funding to manage the crisis.
On social media, this issue has sparked a lot of situations, discussions, and also emotions. For example, on Twitter, hashtags like Afghan refugees and Taliban crisis have highlighted the problem, also focusing in women's rights.
Facebook is a key platform where Afghan communities and humanitarian organizations organize efforts to assist refugees. Personal stories and calls to actions for supporting those fleeing Afghanistan are really common here. On Reddit, users engage in broader discussions about the political and social implications of the crisis. Subreddits like Afghanistan and World News feature debates on how countries are handling or failing to handle the influx of Afghan migrants.